Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our weekly live. What's the topic of the day? You all know, or you may not know, no other startup visa program in the world has essential and non-essential labeling of its co-founders. Canadian startup visa program allows 1 to 5 co-founders to apply together, correct? But if there's more than one co-founder, you'll need to decide who's essential, who's non-essential, if any. What if you're in a group together under the Canadian Startup Visa program and one of the co-founders, between 2 to 3, 4 other co-founders that you may have, decides to leave for personal reasons, medical reasons, or they're just fed up with the Canadian immigration processing times and uncertainties, especially with the startup visa program? This is the topic of our live stream today, and this is not for new applicants for startup visa who have not yet applied or are thinking of whether they should apply or not. So please don't watch this live stream if you don't fall into this specific category. This is not for you. Stop watching right now and press the button, skip this video, or maybe watch a nice humorous comedy clip of some parrots doing some tricks. This video is specifically for people who have already applied for their PR under the Canadian Startup Visa program. This video, as you may know, is rated RT for the raw truth. No editing, no censorship, no special effects, just like the rest of our YouTube live streams. Quick introduction before we jump in. Of course, my name is Reza. I work with the Ingwe Canada team, working on actual applications, helping people move across borders. And why are we sharing this video? Well, we share it to share our hands-on immigration knowledge, both with existing clients, upcoming clients, and other agencies and B2B partners. Is this what I do on a full-time basis? Of course not. I'm not a full-time YouTuber, but I work hands-on with our office, as I mentioned before. And if you're interested in immigrating, of course, you can fill out the form, for which the link is in the below this video, and we will fill up and we will do a free assessment if you're eligible. And of course, if you're an immigration practitioner, you can reach out to us in case you want to outsource your back office or are looking for immigration solutions for your clients. So let's jump in. Okay, lots to discuss. And we will come back to your questions and comments here in the YouTube. I know Ravneet, Fahime, Siraj, Rupindarjit, and Bhupinder, good to see you, and JTRCF Channel Dubai, all here. So we will come back and answer your questions. So please be patient. So in our live stream today, we're covering 2 key questions that come up with existing startup visa applicants. What happens when a non-essential co-founder leaves your startup visa group? And number 2, what happens when an essential co-founder leaves your startup group? Well, in both of these scenarios, it means there are more than one co-founder in the startup visa group, obviously, and they already have a letter of support, which may have been issued a year ago, a year and a half ago, or just recently. And all co-founders have applied for their PR applications as per the IRCC eligibility requirements. So this is the assumption. In our first case, we covered the situation where one of your co-founders is a non-essential member of the startup visa group, decides that they want to leave and not apply or continue through the application process for their PR. They already have a temporary file number from IRCC or a permanent PR file number. This is probably the easiest case you can come across, since non-essential members are not critical for the operations and success of the startup business as per the IRCC. The non-essential members can withdraw their PR application from IRCC without affecting any of the other members of the startup visa group. All other non-essential and essential members will have their PR applications reviewed and processed as if nothing happened. There will be no direct negative effects. This does not raise any red flags either with the IRCC officer if a non-essential member withdraws at any time. They can withdraw during the time they have a temporary file number, or even after when they have a permanent file number, and even during the IRCC request for information and update process. All you need to do is inform IRCC of the withdrawal and your designated organization as well, so they can update their records. And the simplest reason for the withdrawal is, you guessed it, personal reasons which do not allow them to dedicate enough time on the startup business along with other co-founders as originally planned. It's as simple as that. No concerns or issues by the rest of the co-founders, IRCC, or the designated organization. Everyone goes home happy. If the IRCC has not yet started processing their PR applications, the processing fees will be refunded, the person who had withdrawn non-essential member. Otherwise, there will be no refund. That was an easy case. Good. We started easy, lightweight. Remember, we're always posting about these key details about the Canadian Startup Visa Program and other investment and business immigration programs for professionals and entrepreneurs. And if that tickles your fancy, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of these deep dive videos. And the second scenario now is not as clean, as pleasant as the first case we just covered. This is when other co-founders in the Startup Visa group start grinding their teeth and may put the SUV group into panic mode. What happens when an essential co-founder in the Startup Visa group decides to withdraw, cancel, forfeit, or resign from the group? No matter what verb you use to describe them leaving, this scenario looks the same from IRCC's point of view. If any team member in the Startup Visa group who is deemed essential person or member of the group has their startup business permanent residency application withdrawn or refused as per subsection regulations 98.08 subsection 2, all startup visa business permanent residency applications linked to the same business proposal must be refused for not meeting the requirements of being a member of the startup business class. So in layman's terms, everyone gets refused, okay, by default, if a essential member is refused or withdraws. These are the possible solutions and steps the Startup Visa Group has to go through in such a scenario to have a chance of potentially not being refused. If the essential member already has a temporary or permanent file number from IRCC for their PR application and is withdrawing, you'll need to immediately follow these steps. A, if they held a key role, such as a CEO or specific position that was critical to the success of the group, you need to either have another essential or non-essential member take over that role based on their skills matching this new position, or hire somebody in Canada, either part-time or full-time, to take over this vacated position in your startup business. That's the first step, the most important step. The next step is to inform your designated organization immediately of the changes that have happened with a well-written explanation letter with details of the new person taking over that role, their background, skills, and experience relevant to that position. If you're not filling that position with another member of the group or a Canadian employer, then you still need to explain to the designated organization why no replacement is required for the success of this business and the continued progress and traction. The next step is the designated organization needs to reissue everyone's letter of support again, the remaining co-founders, without the name of the member who withdrew. And the updated commitment certificate they will be sending to IRCC, they need to explain this shuffle and the justification behind it and any new milestones achieved by the startup group or other changes or progress they've made. Make sure they don't resend the same commitment certificate they sent 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months ago. Step 4, in the next round of updates you as a startup group send to the IRCC regarding your business progress, assuming you are sending web forms to the IRCC every 6 months, which is a best practice in case you didn't know, you can explain and update them on this shuffle that has happened with your co-founders. And step number 5, If the essential co-founder is inside Canada with a work permit, their status will be canceled and void, and they need to apply to restore and convert to a visitor visa or another status depending on their specific case, or leave the country. The spouse and children of that essential co-founder who has withdrawn or canceled the application can stay on their valid spousal open work permit or dependent children's study permits until the expiry on that document, with no option to renew under this program. Okay. Keep in mind that if an essential co-founder leaves during the time that the IRCC office has started to review your application by sending requests for updated information, forms, and business progress from you and your co-founders, then this shuffle, if it happens at that time, of an essential member that's withdrawing will be a red flag, and you can expect serious turbulence with your PR decision. The officer will have doubts and will try to take you down a very dark path, like the Grim Reaper, while deciding your permanent residencies. You want to avoid having essential members leave or withdraw from the SUV group after they've received the permanent file number, or at least before the IRCC officer sends requests for information. Anything that happens before the permanent file number is manageable. Anything after will be considered high risk. It's up to you and your consultant or lawyer and designate organization to make sure the justifications, explanations, and supporting documents are in order, and additional efforts would probably have to be made to make sure you rectify this, let's say, this this shuffle of your key co-founders. And remember, if this essential member has the patent under their own name, in case that's the case, that is also a major red flag. They can stay as a shareholder. That would be less than 50% in case they want to, but they should not have anything controlling stake in the business or the technology that is documented that IRCC can pinpoint and use against you for your PR application. And I'll leave you with this final thought, folks, about startups and PR applications and immigration in general, and especially in this scenario with the shuffling of your co-founders. When applying for Canadian immigration, the IRCC considers you, the applicant, guilty until proven innocent. Thank God for democracy. If you like immigration hacks, creative immigration solutions, or key analysis and the raw truth about immigration policies and updates, click on the subscribe button for our YouTube channel, as we are growing every day. If you're thinking about immigrating, we help businesses, people, and agencies to move their clients across borders permanently or temporarily. I can guarantee you only one point. You'll know what to expect, the entire process clearly laid out for you, and all the risks identified, including costs. Our legal agreements are based on payment milestones, which are linked directly to application progression. So that means we don't take 100% advance payment for business immigration applications. We have a $1 million liability insurance, which protects you and us from fraud or mistakes, as well as a dedicated client trust account with our Canadian banks. Reach out to us and ask me for my insurance policy. Happy to share. Our team speaks over 9 languages, and we help applicants from over 50 different countries during the immigration process. Click the link below this video and get a free email assessment for eligible applicants. If you're ready to apply and you want to book a one-on-one session with me or any of my licensed immigration team members, you can also book a session directly using the consultation link in the description of this video. And if you want to take our immigration knowledge for a test drive before you pay for a consultation, well, then you can tune in to our YouTube live channel every Thursday, 11 a.m. North American Eastern Standard Time, where we stream live and answer all of your immigration questions for free on the spot. And yes, we are in our live now, so we will be talking to and engaging with our audience. Thanks, everyone on YouTube. Comments, questions, we're going to go through them all. Ravneet Kaur. Hello, Ravneet. Nice to meet you. Of course, I know Ravneet. We've been in touch. First in line in the YouTube. Very nice, very nice. I hope things are going smoothly, Ravneet. All the best. Fahime, Rafi, Good morning from Vancouver. Hi, Fahima. How are you? Thanks for connecting from Vancouver. I know it's not the best time in Vancouver, 8 a.m., but thank you. Rupinder Jirit Singh. Good morning, Rupinder Jirit. Nice to connect. Siraj Ahmed. Hi, Reza. Hello, Siraj. Rupinder Jirit. Just wanted to ask how much time IRCC is taking to complete the process these days. For startup visa, Rupinder Jirit, we are seeing faster processing. So a year to year and a half before they start asking for updated forms, documentation, financial documents, and progress reports. So COVID definitely delayed everything, but now with everything on track, we're seeing 1.5 years before they start getting communication from the officer, the human officer who's looking at the files for the startup visa program. And then it may take anywhere from 3 to 8 months after to actually get a decision, depending on how quickly the applicants and co-founders submit their applications and if there's any questions or concerns. Bhupinder, nice to see you. Good evening. I hope everything is well in India. JTRCF channel Dubai. Hi, Reza. Good morning. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are. Sumandip Kaur. Hi, Reza. Sumandip. Hello back. Sahil Malik. My file was submitted in June 2023. Probably by the end of this year, Sahil, you'll receive a, you just applied this year, like literally 2 months ago. You got to wait for about a year, okay? Within 6 months, you get a temporary file number, and then about a year and a half from the time you originally submitted, you will see some progress in your application. Siraj Ahmed, much appreciated if you can give the progress on SUV application submitted in the last week of December 2021, when they can expect a PR. Well, you should already have your permanent file number, Siraj. You should already be engaged with an IRCC officer. I'm not saying 100% everyone will be, but if you're not already, expect it anytime coming in. Because 2020s are done this year, like they'll be finished. 2021s 90% will be finished this year as well. And their main focus has started to slowly transition to 2022s, early 2022s. But we do have clients in November 2021 who already have their permanent file numbers. So it means that if you don't already, Siraj, you will. And if you already have that, in the next 3 months, 4 months, you will receive requests for information and progress and updates from the IRCC officer looking at your file. Sahil Malik says, how much time for PR for startup visa, I assume? It can be, until you get an actual PR confirmation, it could take 2 years, right? On the IRCC website, it says like 30-something months. I don't know. I don't even keep track of that anymore because it's useless. Whatever IRCC says is pretty much useless. So I actually look at the actual applications. Nasrin Ibrahimi, which is Rosita. Hi, Reza June. Hello back, Rosita. Siraj Ahmed says, hi, Reza. The ICC started looking in SUV applications for the group from the time the first applicant submission or the last group members. It's from the first, Siraj, not the last, okay? Serion, because we had a case too. It was like there was a 3-4 month gap. And when the first applicant got their permanent file numbers, literally a week or two later, the rest started as well, even though there was a big gap. Serian, hi Reza, what are your thoughts on international graduate stream and BC PNP with a valid job offer after completion studies in Canada? Serian, I think it's good. Go into the BC PNP guide, calculate your points after graduation, right? How many points you would receive, and is it in line with the over 100 points that you need to be invited? And if you don't receive that, calculate after 1 year of working for them or 6 months if the points will be different. If you can reverse calculate that, you will know exactly up to a 90% likelihood with accuracy how likely it is that you will be selected and invited by the BC PNP for your PR, which means you can make a decision on whether this is a good program or not. Safa Saleh, nice to see you. Hi Reza, nice to see you too. Yeah, we can see the post behind you is very active and vibrant like you. Yeah. Sometimes I have to take it down. I don't want it to be an advertisement, But yeah, that's just, back in the day, the good old days. NG Hutian. Good morning, Reza. I'm already your client. Just want to say hi to you. Ah, Mrs. New, I think. I don't know. Okay. Well, it's good to see clients here too. And yes, sometimes our clients come online as well. So we're talking about Startup Visa, if you didn't know. And yeah, all the exciting stuff with Startup Visa. We have clients as well. We help our clients as well. But you just have to be very careful. You need a lot of nurturing and support with the Startup Visa case. C-Ride says, hi, Reza, is it allowed for SUV essential member family to stay in another province on an open work permit on family passport? It is, but they will not be covered by the provincial healthcare. Okay. And if you want them to go to school, if they see that you have a work permit that's from another province, like the company, if it's for yourself. But if it's just a family, they won't get the health coverage in that province. Ravneet, hi Reza, is there any news on 3-year open work SUV? No, unfortunately not. We're just seeing the spousal open work permits being extended for anyone who already has an open work permit. So if a closed work permit holder has a spouse or partner, they have an open work permit, they're getting extended, but no news on the 3-year open work permit. And thankfully, the government of Canada never declares what the timeline is to roll out what they blurb out in an event randomly and then make people excited. It's great. I wish they were more like Apple. It's like, we're going to launch this iPhone on this date, and then people start lining up in their tents a couple nights before, right? I don't think that's common anymore, but at least ours is good. Give us a timeline. Hey, we're going to do this in a year, right? Not like we're going to do this or we want plan to do this, and then everyone's just waiting, right? So we'll just have to wait and see if it actually happens. Sirat says, hi, can you update us on the progress on Startup Visa application submitted in March 2022? What will be the timeline for PR? So we are seeing January 2022 being processed. So March, in the next 6 months, you will receive a permanent file number if you haven't, and you will start seeing correspondences either later this year or early 2023. But if it was in March 2022. Safa Sada says, no questions so far, but it's nice if you can explain to us what INGWE stands for. Nice question, Safa. So Safa, everyone pay attention here. INGWE, that's the correct way of saying it, it means leopard, the animal, in the Zulu language and various other dialects in African languages. And interestingly enough, side note here, Igwe without the N means king in Nigerian. But why did we do Ingwe? Why is it leopard? Well, leopards look different, right? They don't sort of mix into the rest of that wildlife population. Very charismatic, very strong. They look different. So that's kind of like a symbolism of immigrants who come in. They're strong. Sometimes maybe they look different than where they're immigrating to, the people there. And, we believe that charisma, that character that a leopard has, immigrants have, and we like to have an international name, right? Because that's what we do. We have international clients. We help people move across various borders. So Ingwe was a good international name. It was very unique. And that's why we did Ingwe. So it means leopard. Ravneet, yeah, Reza, all good, thanks. Zubair Khan, hi Reza, is there a possibility to move your closed work permit to another company in case due to some reasons the startup application is refused? It can be, yeah, it's possible. You just have to make sure you navigate everything correctly, Zubair. Angel, hey Angel, haven't seen you for a while. What's going on? If a couple of co-founders in the startup visa receive permanent file numbers, is it implied that the others will receive the AOR in all probabilities? Yes, as long as it's a complete application, Angel, right? If there's something missing, they may just send it back. But yes, if everything is complete within weeks, or sometimes we've seen some gaps too, it could happen. They will receive, all the co-founders will receive the acknowledgement. Siraj Ahmed, hi. As the previous webinar mentioned, that SUV new changes will be implemented soon from September. Process will be faster. Potentially, yes. And we're just entered September. We have to see with the minister shuffle, is this still a priority? But we are seeing better numbers, faster processing, because they've allocated more centers, as we've already discussed, and they have higher quotas, right? So whether that faster processing starts right away or in 3 months, the key is they are creating preferential designated organizations. Ravneet says, Reza, if someone has lived for a year in Canada under the startup visa, how likely he is to get approved if he applies for a visitor visa in case PR is? Okay. So if they're here on a work permit, I assume, Ravneet, they can, of course, apply for a visitor visa. That's standard. Everyone does those with study permits, work permit, or temporary resident permits. You can apply for a visitor visa from inside the company. And in case the PR is refused, well, you can do a restoration and apply for visitor record to a visitor status, change to visitor status to stay in the country, right? Yeah, it's possible. Let's say you have children, family members, you're trying to get your things together. It is possible. You can also convert to other statuses if the scenario or that case is prevalent. But yeah, everyone is different. But just a visitor visa while you're here on a work permit, perfectly fine in terms of startup visa. If the PR is under process, you can still apply. And if it's refused, then you got to restore, change conditions, leave, do something. Opeyemi Arovosegbe. Hello, Reza, the immigration guru. No. Opeyemi. Oh, nice to see you, Opeyemi. Yeah, that was the first time I was trying to pronounce your last name. So I did have a little bit of a challenge here, but hopefully I got it right the last time. Opeyemi, good to see you. You will receive a response from me in the next 48 hours. Angel, we are April 22nd PR applications and have received permanent file numbers this week. So 6 to 9 months from now on, April 2022. So if you have permanent file numbers, it sometimes takes 1 to 4 or 5 months, sometimes longer, but let's say 1 to 6 months, you're going to get correspondences, updated documentations, forms, financials, progress reports, the works, Angel. Ravneet, yes. Hopefully we've answered the question correctly. Zubair Khan applied in the month of August 2022 and received a work permit for 2 years expiring in 2024. Okay, so yeah. Do you think we may have to renew our work permits or we can expect a PR before that? I don't believe so, Zubair. Your chances of getting a decision are very high before December 2024. Remember, the work permit renewals for startup visa are taking a very long time. So apply 6 months before if you don't have your PR then. And if the PR is under process, they will hold the work permit renewal until they make a decision on your PR. And I've seen that in a lot of cases. Snow, hi, what does it mean that RCC requests for passport? It means they want to stamp your passport, Snow. So if you apply for a study permit, work permit, or if it's a PR, they're giving you a visa or they want to check your passport. And they stamp usually your passport and then they send it back to you. So it means you're pretty much approved. Siraj Ahmed, hi Reza. Much appreciated if you can make one webinar on settlement plan, letter drafting, and key information on how to draft and write for SUV applicant. It would be very helpful. Siraj, we don't really do settlement plans because those are for other programs like that Atlantic immigration program and whatnot. So startup visa, you don't really need a settlement plan. You need a business plan. You need business progress. And Jacob, hi Reza. Good morning. Good morning, Jacob. Good to see you. Your voice are encouragement during these days of uncertainty. Yes, there is a lot of uncertainty, Jacob. I do believe that, and I do agree, and I believe a lot of other people here agree as well. Nikki Patel, hello Reza, good morning. Hey Nikki, nice to see you. Zubair Khan, can you shed some light on self-funding the startup visa to manage expenses? Can it be as direct as sending the money from abroad into our corporate account? This is different than investor funding. Yeah, it can be. You can literally, the money has to come from somewhere if you don't already have revenues, right? So the co-founders are the first line, right, of investors. So whether it's coming from one of you or all of you, that's where the money is going to come from. So you can, as long as the banks here don't have an issue, or wherever you have a bank account, of course, then you should be investing in your business, and that's the correct thing to do. Muntasir Mustafa. Hello, Raza. Good morning. Good morning, Muntasir. We received a medical request under the startup visa and done with it a month back with request to update some IMM forms, but no business progress update request yet. Muntasir, so sometimes they may not request it. Sometimes, rarely. But let's say they will. You're looking at another 3, 4, 5, 6 months of until the final PR decision or approval comes in. And if they don't, you're already in the process. So if you get a pre-settlement letter or anything else, it means your PR is underway, right? So having a medical doesn't necessarily mean you're approved yet, because it depends on whether you have done a medical before and when it has expired and from what country you're applying. We do see both cases where they have done a medical, and that's just a stage before they get into a deeper dive into application. But keep an eye out. If you don't hear anything in the next 6 months, probably they're processing it. And if you do receive requests for information and progress updates, then it means they're getting deeper into your application. Any idea what's next and expected PPR timeline? We applied in April 2022. You should be obviously in line in the next 6 months. To get an actual final PR, like confirmation, it'll take longer than 6 months in a lot of cases. So I would say plan for 4 to 8 months until you really know where you stand. Siraj Ahmed, thanks a lot, Reza, for your valuable information, for your clear, great help. No problem, Siraj. That's why we're here for every Thursday, 11 a.m. live on YouTube. Bhupinder Nanda, I want to share good news. My daughter got a PNP, applied for PR. How much time will it take? Any idea in Winnipeg? Perfect, Bhupinder. That is great news. You were worried last time that she didn't get the nomination. Congratulations. I'm not sure how long the applied for the PR. So you applied for the federal stage. So you got a nomination certificate and you applied for the federal stage, I assume. The federal stage can take anywhere from 8 to 15 months. And best case scenario is 6 months, but don't count on it. But shortest I've seen is 6, 7 months ever. Longest is 18 months for PNP PRs that are processed through the federal government, which of course the PRs are done through the federal stage, because you have to calculate the PNP stage separately. Lata Goda, hello sir. Lata Goda, how much is the investment required? For startup visa, depends on your startup. Maybe you have revenues. Maybe you're a sole founder. Maybe you got 5 people and everyone's pitching in. It's all different. MJ Kip, do you think the RCC will be able to close the target this year? 3,500 PRs for startup visa. As per the recent update, the SUV had just processed 500 or so. Do you have the number of applicants currently under SUV? I don't have the exact backlog number, Jacob, but it's a tough one to see if they will meet the startup visa targets. It'll be a close call. Ravneet, thanks for answering all my questions like you always do. No problem, Ravneet, always here to help, and that's why we're here Thursdays, 11 a.m. live stream. Safa Saleh, okay, I have a question. You said that after 2 years, you will receive the file number of PR. You mean if an approval has been obtained, right? How much the recent PR approval under SUV now? Yeah, so it could take up to 2 years to get an actual PR, like the confirmation of PR. And as I said, right now I'm seeing 1 year to 1.5 years when processing actually starts for your application for your PR under startup visa. And then it may take 6, 8 months after that at least to get the PR decision. Nashwan Ali, hi Reza. If someone has lived in Canada since the age of 18, and RCC requests a police certificate from that person, does that mean that the person has to apply for police certificate from inside Canada? No, it's from your home country. But if you were not eligible, you can write an explanation letter that you haven't lived anywhere besides Canada. So you don't need one locally. The biometrics you've given, hopefully, that covers Canadian security check and criminology check. Nashvan Ali, hi Reza. Okay, yeah, we answered that. Grand Alex, hello. How to apply for the TRV for spousal reunification as the new announcement made on May 26th after they getting the air for the spousal sponsorship, AIR. It's basically a visa. You apply, you show them your PR application or the file number for your spousal, and they will scrutinize your visa application for your spouse from overseas like any other case, except you're doing dual intent, and hopefully they'll give it to you, but it's a tough one. It's not guaranteed. Siraj Ahmed, hi Reza. One of my friends is SUV process. His lawyer asks the group member to prepare a settlement plan and submit by particular date in line. Is it necessary to submit RCC's settlement plan? No, I mean, RCC wants you to invest, show progress for your business. Settlement plan. Have they ever done startup visa before, Siraj? I don't know. It's settlement plan. No such thing for startup visa. Settlement means you got to prove about the business and how will that business financially support you. Those are the things you should know, right? Those are the things you should prove. But an actual just settlement plan by itself, no. Well done, Musomekva. Hi, Reza. Our medical review process under background checks for a work permit by RCC. Is it possible RCC can the tracker can show background check complete before medicals? I believe they showed separately the medical check and then the background check. So it's separate. Safa Saleh. Thanks, Reza. My question was, do you have any information about the percentage of PR approvals under SUV? Safa, it's always up and down. There are a lot of refusals and there's a lot of approvals, right? So what they're trying to do, as I always say in my videos, they don't want the approval rates to rise too much and they don't want it to drop below 50%. So they keep it at a cool, crisp, whatever, 60 to 70%, right? There's a lot of refusals and a lot of approvals. That's the issue, okay? And we'll have the most latest numbers probably next year, like updated information and stats from IRCC, because as you know, government statistics are always lagged and delayed. Abid Jamil, an ICT visa, how many times need to get work permit after submitting application? I'm not sure if I understand your question, Abid. The ICT work permit is renewable, right? Up to, I believe, up to 7 years. And you can renew if you've met the conditions of that permit and you're actually doing something, your business is operational. So I'm not sure what your question is asking. Nikki Patel, whenever we hear this Q&A live session, we get positive. Thanks, Nikki. Appreciate the good feedback, positive energy. I like that. Well done, Musomekwa. Asking for a friend. He applied for a work permit as a family of 4, but only one person has received the biometrics instruction letter. Is this normal as they have waited almost 17 days now? Sometimes, I mean, they usually get them within a couple of days. So wait for that. If it doesn't happen, communicate, because sometimes they forget. IRCC lately has been making a lot of mistakes, to be honest with you, everyone, with embassies overseas and the temporary resident visas, whether it's study permits, work permits, or visas, tourist visas, they've been making a lot of mistakes. I think they're just trying to catch up or do something. I don't know. Maybe they're drunk. Who knows? Ravneet Kaur. Hi, Reza. I have been asked for PCC for all countries I lived in since the age of 18. Police clearance certificate, folks. If I lived in Australia in 2019 and provided PCC from when I submitted PR. Yeah, correct. But I have never returned to Australia after 2019. Do I still need to get the new PCC from Australia again, or I upload last one with explain that I never returned? Technically, according to the rules, you can submit, okay? You can submit that, hey, I never went back there from the date that I came in, right? And I have this old one, which should still be valid. But you never know if they accept that explanation, right? But they do always ask sometimes unnecessarily. So do give them that explanation, see how it goes. I've seen them ask a lot of clients for multiple police clearance certificates again and again, like since they expired. So, and even though they didn't travel, if you can get it quickly, better. Okay. But if not, do an explanation, see what happens. Angel, our SUV PR application process in home country, Canadian Embassy? No, Angel, they're all done here in Canada, right? Different processing centers. I mean, Sydney is the biggest one, but they're processing them all over. The embassies will do your visa or your entry visa based on your confirmation of PR. They'll do your work permits. They may, for spousal sponsorships or other cases, they may do more investigation and interviews, but startup visa, I haven't seen them get involved at this point yet. Everything is done locally. Ganesh Bor, if I do 100% in SUV except revenue generation in startup, what is the probability of success? If I do 100% SUV accepting revenue, right? So I assume, Ganesh, you're saying you'll do startup visa and you've got revenue. What are your chances of success? If you meet the eligibility criteria and you maintain the minimum funds for your settlement and you meet all the criteria and you continue to operate the business, and if it's innovative and you're showing that the operations are moving to Canada, your chances are over 85%. Okay, but again, everyone's case is different. I'm just giving you general guidance here because I don't know your specific case. Ravneet Kaur, okay, thank you, no problem, Ravneet. Sahil Malik, so current timeline for PR is 2 years after the letter of support. Plus minus, Sahil. There's people who are getting it in a year and a half, people who get it in 2.5 years. So folks, here's a crash course in IRCC. If you don't know what the Canadian Immigration Department is, it's like a black box. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not an exact science. So it's not like an airplane landing at 12:01 p.m. at Toronto International Airport. It's random. They lose files, they send back files, they misplace information. Some people's processing takes longer, some people's takes faster. There's no golden rule, there's no fixed timeline. Okay. We've seen cases that have taken much longer. Okay. 2020, they're still processing files from 2020, right? But they're trying to make those decisions. They're overwhelmed. They're understaffed. They've taken on too many cases. H-1B visa holders. There's 10,000 families that have applied under that program. And then you have, of course, the Ukrainian program, which is coming to an end. And then the Iranians, the Syrian, everything is backlogged. Everything. Okay. They are struggling, and that's why you see mistakes happen a lot too. So when you're asking me, Sahil, is 2 years this? No, it's not. It's not like a timeline which you can count on. It can be much faster. It can be much slower. It can be average. And that's if they, if they're nice to you and don't lose your file or some documentation. Montasir Mustafa, thanks a lot, Reza. But is not only 12 months till the medical results expire? So usually the final decision goes beyond 12 months from the medical. What can you see from recent cases? Sometimes they ask for updated medical, sometimes they don't. It's it is what it is. So it's very random. Interestingly enough, not everyone does the medicals again. But 99% of my clients who've done a medical they'll just keep that medical, even if it's over a year or a year and a half. Okay. But what will happen is if you have a medical issue showing in your report, they may ask for further testing if there's something that caught their attention. Ganesh, thanks a lot. No problem, Ganesh. Gaurav Sayal. Hi, Reza. My PR application under startup visa is just submitted last month. When can I expect my confirmation of PR? And can I change my status from essential to non-essential, or it's not possible? Yes, it is possible. You need to reissue the letter of support and do an explanation letter. And if you just submitted it last month, you're in for a confirmation of PR, it might take up to 2 years. Officially on the website, it says 3.5 years, right? But yeah, that's the reality, folks. Grand Alex, HAT is the solution. what is the solution if a temporary resident visa is pending for 270 days where it is declared in the IRCC website takes 70 days? I sent web forms and got only a response that seems automated. Yes, it is automated. Maybe get somebody in Canada to follow up with a local member of parliament. There's not a lot of other options you have. Snow, I'm in Canada on a star visa. IRCC asks for a copy of passport after reviewing updated documents, or they want to check for something especially I have dual citizenship, or that means good indication. Okay, Snow. I'm in Canada on a star visa. IRCC asks for a copy of passport after reviewing updated documents. Are they wanting to check for something? Well, they may be checking. Yeah, they may be checking because they don't they may want to check where you've been going to, if you have residencies in other places. Because if you're inside Canada, they don't actually request a passport. They want a copy of passport. They want to just validate and verify some of your information. So they're kind of looking into the file a little bit more deeper about your specifics, whether it's travel history, residencies, anywhere you've held, things like that. Nikki Patel, as you have answered about the settlement plan, but our representative also has asked about the settlement plan. I don't understand, Nikki. So in the startup visa, you have a settlement plan. There's no such thing as a settlement plan. I don't understand. Maybe they're asking for a business progress report, or maybe they're asking how will that business, explain how will this business will financially support you and your family in Canada. That for sure, as part of the progress report, or questions that are received, but a settlement plan, I deal with a lot of cases in startup and there is no such thing as a settlement plan. It doesn't exist. Siraj Ahmed, hi Reza. Startup visa PR applications are processing inside Canada or respective applicant country or embassy. Siraj, it's inside Canada for PR, work permits outside. Muntasir Mustafa, you're right. Maybe they make the mistake. I have been asked for a PCC from USA where I never stayed there for 6 months, but went there twice for a few weeks only. I wrote them an explanation. Yeah, you're right, Muntasir. They're making a lot of mistakes, and I've been seeing the mistakes more in the last few months. I don't know what's happening, folks. You know as well as I do that it's a mess out there, and we're seeing more and more mistakes by IRCC. What can you do about it? Not much. You just have to make sure you give them the right information. You give explanation letters. You respond on time. You don't put anything that's vague. Be clear and follow the guidelines and the immigration regulations. Sahil Malik. So current timeline for PRs after the letter of support is 2 years. Roughly, Sahil. But on the IRCC website, I don't know because I don't check it. It says 34, 32, 37 months. I don't know. But typically 2 years average. But if it takes 2.5 years, that's what it is, right? It may take less than 2 years. But right now, anyone who was stuck in COVID would take 3 years, just so you know. But the new applications are being done faster. Okay. Muntasir, Sahil, Gaurav Sahil. Is PR a safe bet under SUV? It depends a lot on all members of the Star Visa, and I think Express Entry is more certain, safer, isn't it? Gaurav, you're right, but what percentage of the human population on the planet would receive more than 490 points in Express Entry? There you go. What percentage of the human population on the globe would be eligible for startup visa if they paid and got the letter of support? Big percentage, right? So it's not a matter of choice. Sometimes it's a matter of what other options do they have. So yes, Express Entry is the fastest and most secure if you meet the eligibility. Startup visa is more about convenience, but not great approval rates. It's good. It just, you got to know what to do because you can get refused if you are not on the ball. Okay. Your consultant, lawyer, whoever you're working with has to guide you correctly. Gaurav, 3.5 years for a PR. That's like lifetime. I thought it's 18 months. Gaurav, it can happen in 18 months, but it can also happen in 2.5 years or 2 years. There's no guarantee, Gaurav. In startup visa, it's no guarantee. There are other programs. Folks, this is a news flash. Okay, newsflash, if you're eating, drinking, or driving, this is the time to stop and listen. There are other programs besides Startup Visa in Canada, and they're faster and better. We handle Startup Visa, of course, because that's what some people do want, and it's more convenient for them for specific reasons. But there's other programs too, right? So if you want to come to Canada, you got to figure out all these programs and see which one meets your timelines and requirements, okay? And with which risk level you're more comfortable with, okay? Siraj says, hi, Reza, great help. Thanks a lot. No problem, Siraj. Angel, should you let your representative link the PR application to his GC key? Well, Angel, if you trust them, yes. If I say no, then my own clients will be like, hey, why are you saying no to others and you're asking me to link the application? If you trust them and you want them to continue to represent you, yes. But you don't have to, by the way. You could tell them, hey, I like to keep it in my portal and I'll share the information with you or whatnot. That could be, maybe that's more comfortable for you, but it depends. I mean, technically they're your legal rep. So linking it is not illegal or it's not a red flag. Just have to make sure you stick with them and you trust them and they've been responsive to you for all this time, right? Nihal Bindal. Hi, Reza. Greetings. Greetings back, Nihal. Can I apply for work permit being an essential member and then opt not to go to Canada? Yes, but it may hurt your application, Nihal. You have to have a very strong explanation. They'll be like, well, you apply for a work permit to come and start the business. You didn't when you're doing your PR. And they'll be like, and that's when you have to start explaining, right? That's when the Grim Reaper, IRCC terminators will come for you. I think that was a song. I forgot the song name. Angel, an IRCC asked to link the application within 7 days. Can you do it later as well? I've never tried to do it later, to be honest with you, Angel. We either do it or we don't do it. So not sure if it will work afterwards. Gaurav Sayal, what's the approval rate for PR founder SUV? Gaurav, I mean, it's very contested. Startup visa approval rates, okay? You talk to anyone, if they're trying to sell it to you, they'll say it's over 90%. If they're an academic or they're anti-startup visa, they'll tell you, oh, it's 50% or lower, right? It's bad. Don't. But the reality is, based on the statistics that have been issued for the previous years, it's roughly 65%. And I know a lot of people say, well, that doesn't include me or that. Yes, that's an aggregated total. So it means people who weren't eligible, people who messed up, people who didn't have minimum settlement funds, co-founders who left the group. There's a lot of refusals for different reasons. But the aggregated total for an approval rate is 65% under the federal startup visa. And FYI, there's a provincial startup visa also available, but it has specific criteria that not everyone meets. And it's only one founder eligible. Well done, Musomekwa. After biometrics validity letter, is it a long time till the decision is made on an application? No, usually 24 hours, but I have seen it take longer as well. Nihal Bindal, I mean, rather wait for the PR. Nihal, again, can I apply for work permit being an essential when they're gonna? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Instead of applying, you can just wait for the PR, but make sure you're doing business progress. They're gonna obviously grill you for that. But if you apply for work permit and don't come, it's not great. It's not a move I would recommend to my clients. Gaurav, so I really appreciate your energy, Reza. It's amazing. Well done, bro. Keep going. Gaurav, thank you. Hopefully we will continue these programs until we've helped everyone immigrate to Canada, and the population of Canada would be 6.5 billion. And then the rest of the world, there's nobody there. No, just kidding. Yeah, this is what we want to do every Thursday, 11 a.m. YouTube Live, helping you and guiding you in general. Ravneet, Angel, one of my members did it after 20 days. Oh, nice, Ravneet. So there you go, Angel. Ravneet, who's a regular member of our YouTube channel, just answered your question, which is great because I've never done it after 7 days. Nihal Bindal, and that's great when everyone's sort of helping each other out. I like that. And don't depend on me for all the answers. It's too much pressure. Nihal said, just one more query. Can I apply for a visitor visa while my SUV is under process? Of course you can. It would be a dual intent application. So same application, you just have to mention that you actually submitted a PR application. It's dual intent. And why are you coming over? Typical visitor visa stuff. Abdul Rahman Salot. Hey Reza, my RCIC consultant is not giving access to my status tracker account. She's not letting create the status tracker. Why not? That's stupid. Because the status tracker is separate. They should let you. We do for our clients. Weird. What should I do? Well, first try to negotiate with them and try to sort out the issue. If not, I would say go into the regulations for the professional code of conduct for the CICC, the college that licenses consultants, and figure out the exact code where it says that they have to be responsive and they have to have a fiduciary duty to you, and all the information of the application should be at the disposal of the client at any time. So put some pressure on them. Siraj Ahmed, hi Reza, essential members post obtaining work permit can have work back in his job at home country, meaning while visiting short time. It's possible, it's possible, yeah. But just make sure the progress in the startup has to be strong. Abid Jamil, I have 600 employees in Pakistan. That's a lot of employees, Abid. That's a lot of headaches too. Shows 120, okay, 1 million, no. $122,000 bank balance and 400. Okay, there's too many zeros. My eyes are not. Maybe 4,400,000 assets. But still, IRCC refused my TRV application and said you have less employment in home country in 179B. Abid, you gotta redo reconsideration or reapplication, and worst case, go to judicial review. Okay, they do refuse sometimes for no relevant reason. So you just have to reapply. And you have to make sure the next time, because sometimes officers are lazy, they're tired, it's a Friday, it's just before a holiday, they have a headache, or they've met their quarterly or monthly quota. That's the reality of embassies. So if you reapply, the next officer may look at it differently. So definitely retry, but make it a much stronger application. Serian, hi Reza, what are your thoughts on an international graduate stream in BCPM with a valid job offer? Yeah, we already replied, Serian, at the beginning. You asked that question. So, basically reverse engineer your points. See if with the job offer and the points, you will be selected, because you will need over 100 points to be selected, invited by the BC PNP. Do the calculations first, then go with the program. Okay, because we answered that question. Kapil Kumar, hello back. Kamil Ravneet Kaur, thank you for joining. Kapil says, will I be able to get a PR through the investment of 100,000, network 200,000? It depends on the program, Kapil. Some programs, yes, some programs, no. We have over 170 Canadian programs, although they're variations of each other and hybrids and like different name, but almost the same. But there's over 170 programs. You got to work with somebody who can actually check your eligibility and tell you yes or no. Rural stream, yeah, sure, Kapil. Rural stream, though, you need 300,000 net worth, just so you know, just reminding you. But there's other programs that you may be eligible for. Serian, no problem. Folks, I've talked a lot. We're almost nearing the end of our YouTube live stream. It's almost 12 p.m. local time here in Toronto. Bhupinder, thanks, Reza. Thank you, Bhupinder, for joining us. And thank you for the great news that your daughter got her PNP nomination and applied for the federal stage. As I said, in Ontario, we've seen 7 months. Other provinces, 7 to 10, 12 months PR processing after the PNP. Sometimes longer, but when you're inside Canada, it's faster. Remember, folks, these are the golden rules of Canadian immigration. You're guilty till proven innocent. 2, do your homework. Okay? That's key. And 3, the timelines of the processing can vary. Don't blame your lawyer or consultant if 12 months isn't 12 months or 6 months or 24 months. It can vary, okay? And the key is accuracy. You do it correctly, you do it once. You don't reapply 10 times. Safa Salah says, thank you, Fahima. Thank you, Reza. Thank you, Fahima, for joining. Abdul Rahman, should I change the email through web form? Abdul Rahman, yes, you can do that. Hopefully they'll receive and process it. And, web forms are a little weird. It's kind of like It's like a shooting star, you know, you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know where it's going. It's funny. Grand Alex, we made a spousal sponsorship. My kids are PR in Canada. They sent a request that they made the medical. This is a mistake. Okay, that they make the medical. Yes, yes. Why are Canadian children being asked for medical examination? They're not even in the immigration application, Grand Alex, right? They're Canadian. They don't need to be processed. So yes, it is a mistake. And again, folks, IRCC is making so many mistakes. It's not even funny. We should have a public record of every mistake IRCC makes, and we should have like a blooper video clip of it. Siraj Ahmed, thank you. Thank you. Ravneet, thanks for a great session. As always, have a good day ahead. Thanks, Ravneet. You too. Good luck. Hope to see you for your party later on here in Toronto. Gaurav Sayal is open work permit under SUV will be confirmed, implemented by IRCC soon. Gaurav, we hope so. We don't know. With the minister shuffle, will they implement this new regulation? I think they should, very likely, within the next few months. Maybe tomorrow morning. We don't know. But it should happen, but it's not 100%. Hu Tian Yun. Thanks, Rosa. I never missed your fabulous live session. Hu Tian. Nice to see you. Good. Great to see you, Tian. Great to see you. Thank you. It's always good to see clients coming into our live show. And that's great. Positive energy, folks. Positive energy. Muntasir Mustaq, great session. Thanks, Reza. Have a great day. Thanks, Muntasir. Abdul Rahman, thank you, Reza. Grand Alex, thanks a lot. No problem, folks. See you next Thursday. YouTube live session, chat box, comment box. We're going to talk about IRCC, Canadian immigration, mistakes, success stories, nightmares, horror stories, everything out there. And hopefully we'll see you back here. Yeah, PR parties do 100% revenue. For sure. And remember, I'm a pescatarian and I'm on a carb diet. So we got to be very careful about what is offered at the party. Just kidding. Okay, folks, tune in next Thursday. Okay. And if you don't want that, the Thursday after that. Take care. Have a good one and good luck with your startup visa applications. Take care, folks.